Everybody's the Digital World Podcast. And here's a thread by Jeremy Allaire that I thought was pretty insightful. And I think there's a very fine line when it comes to using technology to aid us, to make things more efficient, um, and to, make our way of living a lot easier. But when that fine line is crossed and you're using it to control or as a means of control of mass populations, that's when you start getting into a very, very dangerous territory and it becomes a slippery slope. And that's something that, given the, you know, recent technological innovations in the digital space, we are able to do a lot of things that otherwise we wouldn't have been able to. It helps us facilitate meetings. We don't have to travel now cross country or international waters. We can simply have a Zoom call, and that makes things way easier. Payments are still we're still on an old legacy system which is pretty clunky and inefficient. And uh, but with the rise of cryptocurrencies, it has it depends which asset you're talking about. Excuse me, but if you're talking about XRP or XLM, it helps um, send the money in a fast and efficient manner. And here, Jeremy Allaire is referring to the internet era and comparing it to today, and also doing some um, comparisons between the U.S. and China. Now, here he says, a message to U.S. and Western policymakers on how to think about China's approach to crypto and blockchain. China opposes the Western system of values built on openness, transparency, privacy, free market competition, and so forth. And this is the thing. If you know your history and you know that the US was founded on opposing tyranny, on standing up against it, if you understand that, then you value all these morals that our nation was founded upon. Okay, and we have been successful because we have stood up for those values, and it has allowed us to thrive. However, needless to say, there hasn't been there's been bad players, and a lot of people are blaming um, capitalism for all that has happened. And it's when government starts choosing winners and losers, that's not free market capitalism. And you probably haven't had free market capitalism in a long time. Ever since we've instituted, fractional reserve banking and the Federal Reserve Act of 1913, this system has drastically changed. And the seeds have been sown a long time ago. But anyways, here I went on a rant there. But here he goes on to say, the internet itself, as an expression of these values, it is one of the reasons that China has always fought to control the internet. These values are also deeply at the core of crypto and blockchains, enshrining them into new economic and governance infrastructure. Crypto and blockchain is an absolute threat to systems that are built around total control, centralization of power, elimination of privacy, etc. Which side of this do we want to be on? Now, before we continue, I just want to say it can be that case. However, if we have the gatekeepers, these central banks, these financial institutions, um, uh, the BlackRocks of the world. I mean, there's only one BlackRock, it's huge. If they get their hands on this, which I do believe they will, there's not going to be. Maybe we are in a decentralized system where not one entity controls it. But the mere fact of the matter is, if you create laws and regulations around it to have every transaction tracked, and you have an account with the Federal Reserve, now you'll have a limit and your privacy will no longer exist. Yeah, there's a decentralized system where no one really controls it, but at the same time, you have to be able to participate in the economy, and there has to be gatekeepers of that economy. There always has been, and there always will be. And so that's my argument against it. But anyways, while we have this technology and it hasn't gotten to that point yet, it's important to, try to take advantage of that. And that's why I always stress a financial plan, because the writing is on the wall. And I do believe, and whatever side you are on, you know, it's always good to have a financial plan, regardless of the case. However, the way things are and the way, the times are and where the times are going, where this is all heading. Okay? CBDCs, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And when it's introduced, it's going to be it's going to be harsh. Okay? And so this is just a way to prepare for what's coming. And this is presenting, a different perspective, different opinion from what you would hear on a mainstream narrative. And folks, I think what I'm trying to do is present as much information I can to you, and you make that decision on your own, because at the end of the day, you're in control of what you decide to do. Anyways, moving on. Another rant there. In the West, a rules-based order based on open free market and democratic principles has provided a very strong foundation for economic and governance systems, and have the best hope of being extended by embracing open public blockchains and digital assets. These are two modes of reacting to China in the US: FOMO, envy, and a belief that we should be more like them given their ability to execute, versus a stoic, determined outlook that believes in the open internet, be on the right side of history, embrace the open internet of value. And I agree with what he's saying here. I think that, there's really only two options in how to execute this new technological innovation, and where it decides to go is up to the people, because they vote on it. Well, I mean, the illusion of voting, there's a whole other discussion on that. However, folks, I want you to, take this information and think about it, because it's important to understand that this technology can facilitate and ease our way of life. However, once that fine line is crossed, it's a very slippery slope. And so as we're involved with this, it's important to think about these points and not get swayed by these nice narratives that sound good and pleasing, but think about what's behind the scenes. What is there more to it? I hope this episode has brought you some value. Like and subscribe, comment below. Let me know your thoughts on what you think of this thread. I'm really curious. Let me know in the comment section below. This is the Digital World Podcast, and I'll see you in the next episode.